markers, particularly if you catch them on the left side of the circuit here, up and down the mountains or the hills. Here's one of the mountains or the hills right here.
So the field now circulates still single file, and many of those areas, by the way, are blind to the drivers. You'll see a yellow flag pop out of the corner station just as you head over the brow of a hill, and you can be in a lot of trouble. Let's get an update on Eddie Cheever's situation. Jan Beekes?
Paul, Eddie Cheever has brought the Bernstein Budweiser car in the pits. They had to change the spark box. He had a misfire. They have it changed. He is back out.
So there you see Eddie Cheever again replacing Roberto Guerrero, and he will replace Roberto for the remainder of this season in that car. Eddie Cheever, whose name's been linked to a number of teams and opportunities for next season, and he has that wonderful ride out of the Bernstein stable at least to the end of the season. So now they begin to get serious. This is a pass down the pit straight into the first turn. The field all moving into position now and beginning to take up its rows of two. The pace car has already cleared the course as they head for the keyhole area, and Nigel Mansell takes control of the field now.
And Cheever will not be able to take up his position. He is too far behind. He is still half a lap behind this complete field. But what he will have is tires that are much warmer than everybody else. Oh, Cheever's back in the pit lane. We can see it from here. He is back in the pit lane. Still has that misfire.
Yep, as the car comes in, you can just hear the motor rattling. So now they begin to align over on the backside of the course. The field in the control now of Nigel Mansell, the pole sitter. Paul Tracy very expectant alongside as we are ready for a race that could in fact decide the IndyCar Championship. With a surge of acceleration, the green flag comes out, and we're already running at Mid-Ohio as it gets very crowded down to the first right-hander. Paul Tracy sweeps to the outside. Boiselle closes in and battles with Fittipaldi. One car spins.
Groff.
Second car goes for the inside. Mike Groff already off there. And that's created some confusion in the field. And look at Nigel. Look at Nigel. What's the problem there?
Very, very slow. We saw the contact. Look at Rahal charge up inside Mansell. Mansell's in trouble. He must be on his way to the pit lane. No front wings on that car.
The one thing that Mansell could not afford to have happen here today may indeed have come to pass. Danny Sullivan also rolling to a stop on the race course. So contact, we go to a full course yellow immediately at the conclusion of the first lap here with Nigel Mansell, the focus of the day, in trouble, and he's hit something very hard.
He has. The front suspension is damaged on that car. We saw the left side. Johansson is involved in it. He has a flat left rear tire. Perhaps 3 into 1 did not go.
Well, there were several compressions heading down. There's a right-hand bend and then a solid right-hander. The Newman Haas team already prepared for the arrival of Nigel Mansell so they can go to work on the car. He is on the pit road now. Scott Pruitt is coming out just ahead of him. By the way, Scott Pruitt in the car that was originally scheduled for John Paul Jr. Gary Gerald is there to watch Mansell's arrival.
Paul, we can see that one of the suspension arms on the left front as he comes to a stop is badly damaged. They shut off the engine. The crew immediately came out with a new nose, and they will attempt to repair the nose, but whether or not they can make the suspension change so that they can have any handling of this car is a very, very big question. There may not be clinching a championship in this pit today.
Now the crew going to work. We were going to look and see if we could see what they were doing from the onboard camera. We cannot. It's not on the side of the car that matters. But Derek, that looks fairly serious, so they're going to try and change it.
And they will have it changed pretty quickly. Remember, they need to get back out before the pace car comes around to stay on this lead lap. That's what they will attempt to do.
All right, let's see if we can tell what happened that's created this most extraordinary situation. Here they were coming down for the start. Nigel Mansell surged into the lead. Paul Tracy moved to the outside as Boiselle moved inside of Fittipaldi and picked up third place. Through the first bend.
Oh, there's contact right there. There it was, right in the first corner. He actually touches with Paul Tracy. That's what broke that left front suspension. And then, of course, this was a totally separate incident.
So 2 simultaneous accidents. Danny Sullivan has the tow rope from the kart safety team. Jan Beekes, can you give us some more?
The Gallus team has heard from Danny Sullivan. He was not involved in an incident. The car just quit. They're hoping he can be towed back here. They have spark boxes and electronic battery and so on ready to go on Sullivan's car right now. No fire for Sullivan.
Okay, Jan Beekes, now we need some of your expertise from the drivers' meeting. Nigel Mansell roared out of the pits just as the pace car was coming past. He has now passed the pace car and looks like he's going to try to make up that full lap and join the field staying on the same lap. Perhaps you can tell us in a moment, Jan Beekes, exactly what the rule's going to be there, but Gary Gerald has this.
Well, we just wanted to make sure that you were aware of the fact that he did get out. They got the nose changed. They tried to handle a bent steering arm in the left front suspension. We'll see how the car handles, but I think that question of position is going to be a significant one, because it appeared from our vantage point when he rocketed from the pits that the pace cars had already gone by.
Gary, that steering arm that you mentioned, the good teams have those preset. They don't have to adjust the steering. They literally undo the two bolts, drop the new steering arm in, and they know the steering is set up as the original one was. So Mansell can have confidence in this car.
All right, Jan Beekes, what is the rule on the blend? Can Mansell do what he's doing now?
Paul, we can't see a monitor, so we don't know if he beat the pace car or not. If you have a replay, look for that blend line. It's a yellow line. He has to beat the pace car to that blend line. If not, he's going to have to go back that whole lap.
Well, we could just see the end of it as Mansell made a dash scramble to try and get out ahead of that pace car. Here it is. Look, he's even in the dirt, but he is behind the blend line. So because of this, he will have to get behind that pace car. In fact, IndyCar have radioed to his team to tell Mansell to get behind the pace car. He will now be one lap down or more if he has a long stop-and-go penalty.
Danny Sullivan's glove, yes, he tries to get rolling again. He, I think, tried to probably restart it on the course and couldn't do so. Maybe we can go back and take a look at the onboard camera from the perspective of Nigel Mansell on that start, and we'll see exactly what may have happened there a little more clearly. They come off the keyhole. They are aligned. They're looking for the green. Let's listen to the motor. There's the green.
You can hear the wheel spin as Mansell jumped away, but watch Tracy. There's the key move there. There's the hit. That was it.
And that Mansell immediately starts throwing. That gets all the rest of the field compressed up behind him. But with that slow, there's Scott Goodyear looking for room. Mansell wisely gets out of the way. And they're back in the pits working on that car. Gary? So they continue to work on Nigel Mansell's car, trying to get him back in the fight because he needs every point that he can garner today at Mid-Ohio.
Yellow flag still being displayed around the circuit. Nigel Mansell back in the pits. The first time in, they got the new nose on. They couldn't change the steering arm. They're in the process of changing the steering arm right now. Engine shut down. We can see the field coming up the hill on the front straightaway. They will put another lap on Mansell now as he sets here in the pits. So a disastrous start for the man who is dominating the championship point standings, who had hoped to clinch a championship today. They still hope to get him back out there, but he's now going to be significantly down to the field, Paul.
And of course, a number of incidents that led up to this first lap situation, Derek.
Watch this. Mansell's left front suspension is broken. Look at Leyendijk. Clips the front wings off of Mansell's car. He was already on his way to the pit lane anyway. That just lengthened that pit stop.
And the crew going to work on that car still in the pits.
He's a bit helpless here because he really can't get out of people's way. And Leyendijk being pursued there by Mario, you can see that clearly, just nips the front wing. There you go. There's the debris.
So a disaster here in the first lap for Nigel Mansell and his bid for a championship, but the Newman Haas team is continuing to work on that car to get it back into competition and hopefully get a point or two before the day is over. Jan Beekes?
Paul, we've had two cars with suspension problems coming in. First of all, Danny Sullivan, not from hitting anything, but when they tried to tow him in, the line got wrapped around the front suspension, caused some damage. He just rolled out. You could hear him go by. Stefan Johansson has also come in, but his damage was from Robbie Gordon hitting him from behind. They've replaced a tire and a lower control arm. He's also back up to speed.
Well, and Nigel Mansell has more bad news to face, assuming, as we do, that they will get that car properly repaired, out of the pits, back into the field before we leave this yellow. As soon as they go green, they'll display a black flag to Nigel Mansell for the blend line violation. So it's actually, at this point, not going to matter all that much.
Well, at the top of the show, we said he was going to have his hands full with these Penske's trying to beat them. We didn't quite envisage that type of contact and that type of problems for Mansell, but that's the way it has unfolded so far.
So the rest of the field lines up with Paul Tracy as the leader of the race, followed by Fittipaldi, Bosell, Al Unser Jr., Scott Goodyear, Teo Fabi, then Mario Andretti in 7th, Jimmy Vasser in 8th. In 9th is Mark Smith, and Gugelmin has moved into 10th. The green flag comes out, and here we go again, this time single file, this time starting over on the pit straight. As they come back up to speed, Nigel Mansell is back on the course, but of course he will see the black flag very quickly come back in for that stop and go.
There's our two main championship contenders against Mansell, leading here 1-2 in race conditions. This car has been very good, but look at Bosell with the challenge on Emerson.
Raul Bosell moves to the inside, very close together, almost touch tires. Emerson holds him off. Al Unser Jr. closes in on Bosell.
Emerson was forced to take the inside line there and make things very difficult for Bosell. Luckily, Bosell realized and read it quick enough and decided to back out of it in this early stages of the race.
Paul Tracy runs alone. You saw the interval back to second place, Fittipaldi, and then the lineup behind him, Bosell, Al Unser Jr., now joined by Scott Goodyear, Teo Fabi, and Mario Andretti. They are all right together.
Al Jr., one of his best qualifying positions, qualified 6th, had that grin again after qualifying, that confident look when he knows a racing car feels good under him. He feels very confident as this race unfolds. He will be a major challenger.
Nigel Mansell just took the green flag ahead of the leaders over on the pit straight. At that moment, I didn't see a black flag out at the line, but the indication is he will see one fairly quickly.
And here's the drag race again that we watched earlier. Bosell versus Emerson. He's a little bit further behind this time, so I'm not sure that he can make a legitimate passing attempt. Look at Goodyear.
Al Unser Jr. and Scott Goodyear battle for 4th while Bosell tries to sweep to the inside of Fittipaldi, and there goes little Al past Goodyear. He has 4th.
There's lots of room down there at the end of that straight. If you can't get it done inside, maybe you can try and go side by side around the outside. If you can get up the hill on the inside, you are in good shape.
Have to be careful, though, because it is an off-camber corner. That can throw the car right off the course, as throughout the preliminary events, we've seen a number of incidents at that very location. Paul Tracy still in front. This battle around Goodyear broken off for the moment, though Teo Fabi closing in. Now Teo Fabi, as he chases Goodyear, we watch Nigel Mansell answering the black flag, coming in for his stop-and-go penalty. And this just continues to go downhill for Mansell. All the mechanical problems, all caused by two cars wanting that small piece of ground in turn 1, and all this trouble happens. But now he's going to be in a real fight. And Mansell rejoins in the middle of the field, 2 laps behind in 25th position. Gary Gerald.
Well, a very frustrated Nigel Mansell, obviously, on the radio, very concerned about we need the points. He wanted to know what's the point of having to make this stop and go now. Tom Wirtz, his lead mechanic, said the repair work all looks good. But, of course, it took plenty of time. That's the major concern.
Raul Bosell with a fascinating challenge to the outside of Fittipaldi. He loses ground in doing so, and Al Unser Jr. closes in.
And just what we said, if you can't get it done the inside, try the outside. Bosell was alongside Emerson, but he didn't quite keep the momentum around that longer outside groove, and Emerson grabbed it back again.
The telemetry coming from Ford Electronics on Raul Bosell's car as he maneuvers in this tight little battle, currently in 3rd, trying to close Fittipaldi. Paul Tracy beginning to pull away, now 4 seconds ahead of Fittipaldi.
You can see the speed on the right side build up here. Now turn 1 is a 5th gear corner.